Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 13, Episode 5, How Nude. Okay, are all the episodes to be continued now? Because I will say, as usual, we're picking up right where we left off last week. It's the breakfast at Tiffany's party. The ladies are having dinner. The conversation led by Leah is a little too risque for Ramona. She goes into the kitchen to complain to Eli and probably have another one of those shots. The conversation's getting crazy in there. And Leah, guys, I think Leah is destined to live out the rest of her days as a teenager trying to get a reaction out of people by being irreverent. It kind of makes me sad for her that she's like stuck at age 16. Ramona's trying to change the subject away from sex. And so she turns to Heather and she said, Leah and I had an altercation. Her grandmother is dying. And yesterday, Sonja and I got into an altercation, but whatever, it happened. And Heather's like, whoa, wait a minute. No, this sounds kind of juicy. I want to know what happened. Sonja, oh my God, we might hear about it on your podcast next week. Leah now explains that Ramona is a button pusher. That's why Sonja and I both went freaking psycho. Ramona, we fight like crazy, but we make up like crazy. It's a sisterhood. Now Ebony, who's sitting between Luanne and Sonja, says to Heather, oh, you should have seen yesterday. These two were going at it to the death. And then 5 minutes later, love. While this conversation's going on, the other side of the table has Leah and Ramona kissing and making up, hugging. Did not see that coming. Ebony says to Heather, yeah, it was very Biggie Pac, these two. And Heather starts laughing. Sonja, yeah, we can pop. I don't think she's drunk, is she? Ebony goes, no, Pac, like Tupac Shakur. Sonja, we can Tupac. No, we can Pac off. I don't know what's happening here. Side note, Ebony might be drunk too. That's what I'm thinking at this point. Back to the other side with Leah and Ramona. Ramona says, can I tell you something again? Leah goes, yes. Again? Leah, yeah. Again? Leah said, yeah. What makes me uncomfortable? Leah, talking about sex? Yes. So you're asking me to never talk about sex again? I'm sex positive. Ramona gets a kick out of that. She thinks Leah just made up that term. Leah's confessional. Okay, boomer. So now Luanne makes an exit because she thinks like the drinking's gonna start and she needs to check out early. Ramona says to Leah, maybe I'm old school. I was never taught to talk about sex. Like, this dick is big or that dick is small. I like dick. I like to his bleep is big. She has a WP, or let's do a WAP. Leah is dying, by the way. She tells the others now, Ramona wants me to edit myself and not talk about sex. Ebony goes, did I not just hear her say she could take a big dick? Everyone is like dying laughing. Ramona says, I liked you and I don't like you now. I literally thought Ramona was kidding because you heard what Ramona said. I didn't make that up. She leaves the table now and Ebony goes after her. Ramona, I'm sorry. I had 2 gins. Ramona, okay. Do ladies talk about body parts? Do they talk about P's and C's and D's? Hold up. Is Ramona drunk? Does she not know what she said? Maybe she didn't say she could take a big dick, but she was definitely talking about dicks. Ebony is like trying not to laugh. Ramona heads upstairs to her bedroom with a bottle of wine in one hand and a glass in the other. Whatever happened to class? Class and elegance. Where did it all go? Pretty sure it was never on this show. Okay, it's the next morning now. Ebony is stretching on the floor in her room. Heather's out by the pool. She's calling home to her son, Jack. Ramona and Sonja are just getting up. Ramona says, I think Luanne already left because she's getting things ready for Garth for the lunch. Ramona is still not happy that the ladies had to talk about sex last night, and she's not happy with what Ebony said. Sonja, yeah, she thought you could handle a big dick. Yeah, we remember. We cut to Ebony and Leah, who are now out in the backyard sitting on a bench by the water. Ebony's like, so I'm going to have to apologize to Ramona. I mean, not a huge apology because she is a hypocrite. And Leah's like, yes. Ebony goes, I mean, I saw her last night when I was taking those thirst trap pictures of you and her. Then thank you, Bravo. We all get to see them. Ramona in a thong. I mean, yeah. I can see where the girls are getting mixed messages from Ramona. Leah's like, I am so tired of her. You need to stop talking about sex. It makes me uncomfortable. Then 10 minutes later, she's in a thong dancing around like a stripper. Back in Ramona's room, she's telling Sonja, I can't believe that Leah started all that trouble with Heather about her podcast. Sonja, well, she needs to stop talking about everybody else. Ramona, did she agree to do that? Sonja goes, I don't think so. She loves a scoop. She loves to spill the tea. And Ramona goes, well, I'm going to go say something to her. If she wants to hang out with all of us again, she needs to stop that. Okay, Heather's not going to stop. And I also don't think she cares if she can hang out with you guys again. I mean, listen, this is going to be good for her podcast, but I don't think Heather cares that much. So now in Leah's room, she is on the phone, I guess texting maybe with her mom. She said that her mom keeps telling her that her grandmother is slipping away. She's not communicating anymore. And Leah said that it's like occurring to her in real time that she's never going to have another conversation with her grandmother. It was sad. Next, we see Ramona paying Heather a visit in the lower level. And she said, did you have a good time last night? And Heather said, oh yeah, I did. I really did. I mean, other than kind of getting attacked. Yeah, just a little bit. Heather, but I feel like I made my point. Really? She goes, that it was my experience. Like I was telling the story from my point of view. Yeah. So why should the ladies be mad about that? I mean, listen, if I met Luanne in real life and she offered me drugs, it wouldn't be a matter of if I would tell you guys. It would be how quickly could I tell you guys? I mean, like I might have to do like an emergency live stream, but I'm not friends with Luanne. So that would be a big deal to me to even meet her. So with Heather, maybe there should be a little bit of boundary there. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know if I think Heather should have talked about it or not. It happened to her. I guess she can talk about it. She's not even on the show anymore. Anyway, Heather said, I think I proved my point. Also, it would not be okay if Heather just fabricated that story and was telling this lie about Luanne offering her hard drugs or doing hard drugs or whatever. Like, that would not be okay. So if Heather really feels like, hey, it was just my point of view and we're dropping it, I mean, then we're all coming to the same conclusion, right? Luanne must have actually been doing hard drugs, right? Is there any other way to look at that? I mean, if it didn't happen, Luanne would be demanding that Heather say on camera that she didn't see her with hard drugs. So anyway, Ramona said, right, but I think it would behoove you not to talk about it. Like, don't mention me. Don't mention Sonja. We don't want to be talked about, that's all. Heather's like, sure. I just feel like the way I want to handle my own experiences is, my business. Ramona, well, can you at least promise me that you won't talk about me? Even if it's nice, I just don't want to be talked about in the press. Okay, you do know you're on a reality show, right? Maybe this cameraman that I caught in the mirror here can remind her of that. Now we are checking in with Luanne at her home in Sag Harbor. Garth is cooking and Luanne's niece, Nicole, is helping him out. Side note, guys, Nicole, is this the niece that was with Adam before Carol was? I'm wondering. Luanne tells us in her confessional, well, it's going to be a good day today, and we're painting a male nude model. What's better than nude and food? Garth says, I hope the ladies are going to be prepared for lamb curry after, what is it that you call it? Life drawing? Are you doing that too? He says to Luanne. Luanne, well, of course. Back at Ramona's, Heather comes into the bathroom where Sonja and Ramona are getting ready. Heather goes, aren't we painting? You guys are very dressy for painting. Ramona, we just like to look chic for each other. You didn't get the memo, but you look chic. Heather's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm fine with what I'm wearing. She's got jeans and like a striped blouse. Ramona, but we look chicer. Sonja's like, yeah. Meanwhile, Ebony and Leah are getting glam done, hair and makeup. Ramona comes downstairs and she's like, why do you need glam? We're just going to lunch. And Ebony goes, I want to look my best for you, baby. Ramona, yeah, but we're already a half hour late. Ebony's like, I don't want you to be late at all. I totally respect that. And Ramona's like, so you have 1 minute. And Ebony's like, no, I've got at least 15, maybe 20 minutes more. Ramona, you've got to be kidding me. That is so rude. Ebony says, no, it's not. As a Black woman, my hair situation is very different than yours. I had to wash my hair and I can't get it this way on my own. That's why she has her glam squad. Ramona's like, you just should have started earlier. And Ebony said, well, we had some technical issues. You guys go on ahead. And Ramona said, well, I haven't eaten. I'm hangry. And she wasn't, I actually thought she wasn't as jerky as she could have been. And Ebony, her confessional, she's like, 1816, Emancipation Proclamation. I'm free. What you're not going to do is come down here and dictate what I do with my time. Yeah, I don't think that was the issue. I don't think she was trying to dictate what you do with your time, Ebony. It was rude that you were going to lunch at somebody's house and you were already a half hour late and you were going to be even later. It was just a time management thing. That's it. Anyway, they can hear Ramona upstairs letting out another one of those healing screams before she gets into the van. And Ramona, Heather, and Sonja leave for Luann's. Leah is waiting to go with Ebony. All right, so over at Luann's, everything is being set up for the painting, and the model has just arrived. Side note, does Luann's t-shirt say, name 100 female artists and I'll give you a kiss? Jeez. What a feminist. Way to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I'll give you a kiss? Also, don't threaten me. Wait, was that supposed to be ironic? Oh, maybe. Did that just sail right over my head? Maybe. That is always a very real possibility. Moving on. Ramona, Heather, Sonja arrive now. They're getting out of the van, and the Chiron says that it's 2:04 p.m. Pretty sure that's going to be significant. Whenever Bravo tells us what time it is, there's usually a reason for that. Okay, Heather gets introduced to Garth, and she tells Luanne, he's adorable. When you said at lunch that he was young, I thought you meant Luanne goes, oh no, he's my age. Well, he's not my age. He's going to be 50. He's a godsend. When I call him, he picks up the phone. Wow. When we decide we're going to have dinner Friday, when Friday comes around, he's there. The better question might be, what kind of men have you been dating in the past? It's a bit of a low bar, is my point. Okay, well, now she says that also Garth doesn't drink, and that is a plus. I think that would be good for Luanne. She spends so much time around people that do drink excessively that, I don't think it's fair that she's constantly testing her willpower. Okay, so now a car just drops off Leah and Ebony, and the Chiron says 2:16, 12 minutes after Ramona arrived. So Ebony comes in, they're saying hello to people. She gives Ramona a hug and she said, I'm going to apologize to you later. And Ramona goes, it's all right. I still don't understand why you guys have to get so perfectly coiffed, but it's your prerogative. Coiffed. Anyway, Ebony said, no, listen, just it's vacation. I don't do this all the time. Luanne offers them something to drink, and Ebony is just having Pellegrino. And Luanne's like, uh-oh, must have been quite a night last night, huh? And Ramona said, that's why she misheard me. I was just trying to tell Leah that she can talk about sex with other people, just not me. It makes me... I don't know. And Ebony said, it makes you uncomfortable. Ramona, yeah, it does. Ebony said, so I won't do it anymore, Ramona. Then in Ramona's confessional, she said, Ebony, a new friend. We're getting along great. She seems to get me. Why can't Leah do the same thing? Outside, Leah is talking to Sonia, and she's like, I'm so glad that Luanne was cool about us being late. I thought she was going to be pissed. Sonia, nobody's pissed, except Ramona was just starving. She did say she was hangry. Anyway, so inside, Garth goes home, and Luanne said, all right, the curry is cooking. It'll be done shortly, so what do you say we all start painting? Side note, is Ramona going to be okay with painting this naked man? This is why Leah thinks that she's a hypocrite. Just as Luanne makes this announcement, this man walks in with a guitar on his back. And Luanne goes, oh, Alfredo. Gives him a big hug. Ebony goes, oh, he's handsome too. I'm now questioning Ebony's taste in men a little bit. And also, I would just like to say, don't get the wrong impression, Ebony, because the men around here usually look like Harry Dubin or John Pedestrian. Don't get used to Alfredo. So Luanne is introducing Alfredo to the ladies now. And outside, Leah goes, oh, Sonia, this is the guy she wants you to meet. The guy with the guitar. Sonia looks in there and she goes, okay, Luanne has no idea what kind of guy I like. Well, I hope your type is Carlos Santana because that's what you're about to get. So I guess Alfredo is going to be playing music while the ladies are painting a nude man. It's, you know, I just find it an interesting time to like set your friend up with someone while she's painting this other naked guy. I don't know. Then we see a flashback to 3 days ago when Luanne was telling Leah and Ebony, I actually have a guitar player coming over, Alfredo, who I think Sonia's gonna like. He's hot. Anyway, Sonia's saying Luanne has no idea what I like. And she goes, I'm an artist. I'm not gonna be with an artist. Leah's like, oh yeah, you are so not gonna want this guy. In her confessional, Sonia said, Luanne astonishes me sometimes. I like a dandy guy with a checked shirt, maybe a pochette, a navy blazer. That's like very specifically dressed, but it doesn't tell much about the guy. I mean, I guess it does if he's wearing a checked shirt, navy blazer, and a pochette. Yeah, so interesting that she says she wants a dandy guy. Anyway, she's like, take your head out of Garth's ass, Luanne. So Luanne comes out into the backyard with poor Alfredo to introduce Sonia. Sonia, I mean, for all her big talk, she was acting like a giddy little girl. Oh, hi. It's weird. Okay, so now it's time to paint. Kurt, the model, comes out and he's just wearing like a sarong or, I don't know, some kind of scarf is wrapped around his waist. And Victoria and Nicole, who are also painting him, are explaining how this is going to go. He's going to be in one pose for a minute and then turn for a minute. And I guess he's going to do that a few times. And then there's going to be a 5-minute pose and then a 10-minute pose. Side note, this is so random, but do any of you guys watch This Is Us? If you do, you know that Madison, who is marrying Kevin, they're having a bachelorette party for her, and Kate has hired a male model that they are now going to paint. So it is the exact same thing that they're doing here on this show. We got to see, well, not fully on did we see their paintings, but we saw all their paintings while they're talking. All of those paintings were so good. It seemed very unrealistic. And I will be shocked if I see that level of painting here today. I don't know, guys. You know, these are the weird things I think about when I watch TV. Anyway, Sonia's confessional. I have never painted a nude model before, but also I've never been a stripper. So there are a few things I haven't done. Leah is like weirded out, which kind of surprises me and kind of doesn't. Because for all her big talk, She's just super immature. Anyway, the model gets Sonja to come up and counts down 3, 2, 1 and makes Sonja whip off his sarong. In Ebonys confessional, she goes, "Oh, I see now why this is his job. Good for you, Kurt." Ramona, the hypocrite. "He has a very pretty penis." Also, don't be creepy. Anyway, Ramona drew the penis, nothing else, and then she went to go sit down. It's just so absurd. By the way, as I suspected, these paintings look nothing like the ones done by the women on This Is Us. Very cartoonish, very rudimentary. But I mean, that's of course what I would expect. What we didn't get to see, which I really wished we could, was Victoria and Nicole's paintings. Because, you know, all Luanne keeps telling us all the time is that they're artists. So that would have been interesting to see. But no, we got to see all the others. And then here's another interesting fact. Bravo, of course, was, you know, blurring Kurt out because, you know, we could see him full on. But what they didn't blur out was the paintings that the ladies did, or the drawings, which was primarily focused on his penis. And we got to see all of those. So I thought that was weird, you know? I'm not going to show them here because I don't want to get demonetized, but if you watched the episode, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't get the show, just imagine a very badly drawn penis. All right, so now Leah gives up too, and she went to go sit down next to Ramona. And while the others are still painting, Alfredo starts to play guitar and sing. And Ramona's like, are we supposed to recognize the songs? Or are they his? And Leah said, no, I think they're his original songs. He's French too, by the way. I forgot to mention that. And I think maybe this was a French song. All I know is it was not Black Magic Woman. So we have found out where the similarities end. Ramona, he's very talented. The music is very sensual. She starts to like slowly shimmy. And Alfredo now comes walking up while he's still playing. And Ramona has to make a point of telling him, this is great. I love your music. It really touches me. No, I mean, it really does. It touches me. Your music is touching me right now. I feel like I'm being touched all over by your music. Even Alfredo is creeped out. He's like, good. Leah is dying. I'm dying. I'm sure you guys were dying. So the ladies kind of finish up their painting and they're getting ready to sit down and eat. And Leah gets up and she says, I have vertigo again. And I don't know what that's about. I didn't know she had vertigo before. But my husband gets vertigo, and I know it's no joke. It is not fun. It gets very nauseous. I feel bad for her. So she goes in the house. And then the next thing we see is she's inside and Ebony and Ramona are sitting with her. Now she's talking about her grandmother again. She's stressed out about when she's going to get to see her grandmother, if she's going to get to see her grandmother. And guys, I'm sorry. She sounds so whiny. And she's saying, I physically don't feel well. I'm dizzy and I'm not being a baby. Maybe not, but you sound like one. Also, what are you doing there? You're not having fun. You are never going to regret missing this trip. But it sounds like you will regret not being able to say goodbye to your grandmother. I am so confused by why she's there. Ramona now is comforting Leah. Comforting, in quotes, because it's very similar to the way she comforted Sonja by telling her, you have nobody. You're all alone and your family abandoned you. Yeah, that's the kind of comfort Leah's getting right now. I know your grandmother was the one person who loved you unconditionally. And that did kind of strike something in Leah, and she's really crying now. Ramona, I don't mean to make you cry, but I know she gets you. More than your mommy does. Mommy, more than Rob does. Ramona, jeez, leave her alone. Ramona, oh no, am I making it worse? No question about it. You are making it worse. Next, it is time to eat, and the ladies are, sitting at the table getting ready for their lamb curry. Leah's still sitting on the couch inside, and at the table outside, it's Ebony, Heather, and Ramona. And they're talking about Leah and her pain and her grandmother being her rock and how she'll never have anyone in her life now to tell her that she's enough. And Heather goes, well, that's when your friends need to step in. Ramona, that's where she and I have our conflict. Because she looks up to me. It gets better. She looks at me like an older sister. Who's just a little older and much more beautiful. Kidding about that, but she said, and she looks to me for affirmation. And when I don't give it to her, she gets really angry and kind of aggressive. Now Sonia and Leah come to the table to sit down and eat. And Sonia goes, how you doing? Leah, okay. Sonia goes, I'm giving you your space. And Leah's like, you're so sweet, thank you. So now Luanne says, let's raise a toast to Victoria and Garth. Thank you, Garth. Garth isn't there, but okay. Sonja's confessional. I don't know how long this relationship with Luanne and Garth is going to last, but I can see what Luanne is raving about. And it's the curry. So they're eating and chatting, and Luanne asks, what happened last night after I went to bed? I heard Ramona come running out, and Ebony, you chased after her. Ramona. So I ran to the staircase and was trying to listen in. And Ebony goes, you're being nosy. And she goes, yeah, I was being nosy. So Ebony said, well, I was apologizing to Ramona because I used language she didn't like. Leah goes, actually, Ramona was talking to me about how she loves me, but doesn't like the way I talk about sex. Luanne goes, okay, fair enough. Listen, this one was a church-going Catholic. I was brought up the same way. More conservative. Leah, come on, give me a break. In her confessional, Leah said, Ramona Singer and Christian values should never be used in the same sentence. This is a woman who lied about donating blood plasma. I almost admire that she won't give that up. Because, instead of it being just for a storyline, it feels like it's something that really is bugging Leah. So Luanne goes, oh, well, listen, we all like to talk, but, there's a point where it does cross a line. It gets to be too much. And Ebony said, for some people. And that's how she is. Leah, but it's hard for me to know that because there is some hypocrisy there. Luanne, well, there are certain words like the C word I don't think people like to hear very often. Ramona, I tried telling her I want a relationship with you, but please don't talk that way around me. Leah, I don't understand the logic. Ramona, my daughter doesn't speak that way. Her friends don't speak that way. Leah goes, what way? The way you speak. Leah, are you f***ing kidding me? You think your daughter's going to talk to you about sex? Not going to talk like that in front of you. Leah gets up. I'm over it. She says, get me out of here. I'm done. In her confessional, Leah said, do not compare me to your daughter. Your daughter and I are nothing alike. I'm also not your daughter. Okay, there we go. She finally got there. Leah and Ramona have mother-daughter issues, period. Not little sister, big sister, Ramona, but mother-daughter. Sonia agrees with Leah. She said, I don't get it either, Ramona. Why can't you just let her be who she is? She's like, make up your mind. Last night you were dancing around in your thong, flashing your titties at me. Which one is it? And you're acting on a high horse, Luanne. Luanne. I'm not acting on a high horse. I'm trying to explain to you. Leah, do me a favor and don't explain it to me. In Ramona's confessional, she said, Leah and I had been getting along, and then she throws a wrench in it. I think she does it on purpose. So now Leah is out front and sitting on the porch. I don't know if she's waiting for an Uber or what. Ebony's like, this is a lot for something that isn't that big of a deal. You guys don't like the words. Ramona, excuse me. She came out to dinner with my daughter and 4 of her friends. My daughter goes, who speaks this way? She was using the P word. Flashback to that dinner. Leah's like, I want a billionaire with a 9-inch. And she stops herself. Ramona, Leah, stop. Leah goes, they're 24 years old. I had a kid when I was 24. So now Ebony goes, but that's your daughter. That's Avery. And Ramona goes, fine, but she can respect me. Ebony goes, Ramona, you said you don't like the words. I won't use the words. Luanne, but you understand what I'm saying. And Ebony goes, I understand you, Lou, but I don't fully agree. I won't use it with you because you said I don't like it. But I don't subscribe to the theory that to use those words means you're not classy or you're not a lady. Ramona, I never said that. Ebony, you said something about being conservative. Ramona, I said it makes me uncomfortable. Ebony goes, well, I could have sworn Lou said something about being raised in the church. Luanne says, yeah, but it has nothing to do with class. It has to do with education. Okay. Ebony said, it doesn't have anything to do with education either, Lou. I have more education, frankly, than anybody else here. I'm the most educated person in this group, Luanne. Oh, really? And Ebony goes, I am, Ramona. Why? Did you Google us? How do you know what education I have? Oh my God, maybe because she has spent more than 5 minutes with you. Leah, do you have longitis? Why do you have to be perfectly coiffed? Anyway, and I love this. Ebony goes, yeah, I Googled all of you. But really, of course she did. If you were going to be on that show, wouldn't you find out everything you could about your co-stars? I would. Ramona actually got a kick out of that, and she went to high five Ebony. And Leah's on her way back. Luanne, you think having a degree makes you more educated? I mean, it makes you more formally educated. Yes. I suppose Luanne could have more life experience. Okay, so Ebony said, well, it does make me more technically educated, Luanne. Luanne, well, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. It's factual. It's not an opinion. So cue Leah, who I said has come back in the room now. If you bring up your freaking daughter to me one more time about sex, I mean, give me a break. And somebody is saying stop. I'm not sure if it's Ramona or not, but she's not going to stop because she has been out on the front porch thinking of what to say. And she's got to get it all out right now. Avery and her friends, if you think they've probably been dicks since they were 14 years old. Luanne gets a chuckle out of this. Ramona, I don't want to hear about it at dinner. I don't need to hear it. Leah, honestly, you're full of BS. No, I'm not. Leah, stop. Leah, stop. In Sonjas confessional, she said, of course, Leah's angry and she wants to get a rise out of Ramona. And I don't blame her. But personally, I wouldn't throw the insults at someone's child. I think we all learned that lesson over on the Housewives of New Jersey. Anyway, Leah goes, maybe last year I was like, okay, hee, but I'm not going to let you treat me like I'm some kind of raunchy bitch, because I'm not. You're a hoe, and you're a hoe, and you're a hoe, and you're a hoe. I swear to you, Luanne smiles and nods when she points at her. And she's like, so leave me the f*** alone, Ramona. Oh my God. Well, the Uber is here, and Leah just very sweetly gets in, hi, and off she goes, leaving the ladies at the table to dissect what just happened. Heather, listen, I think there's a big lesson here. I think it's listening to each other, and that's what's missing here. I think you should all hash this out on my podcast. Can I pencil you in for the week after Luanne bears her soul to me? No, I mean, listen, Heather, be quiet. That's not really what's happening here, and you don't really know what's happening here, so I don't know why you feel the need to chime in at all. So Luanne goes, I was just trying to explain it to her, and I think I was pretty clear. For an uneducated person. Of course, she's looking over at Ebony. Ebony, nobody said you were uneducated. No, listen, I gotta clear this up, and I'm not gonna yell. Side note, Sonia may not be drunk, but she is doing some weird hand signaling, and I don't quite understand what it is. Ramona says to Ebony, can we not make it about you right now? Ebony, no, we're not going to make it about Leah, Ramona. And then she says to Luanne, you are an LPN, you have a nursing degree. Luanne goes, you said to me, I'm the smartest Ebony, no, I did not. That's a lie. Sonja, she didn't say that. She said the most educated. In Sonja's confessional, she didn't say I'm the smartest person at the table or the prettiest. Most educated. It's a resume. Luanne, I don't think you speak 3 languages. Okay. Oh my God. She really thinks there's no difference between saying I'm the most educated and the smartest. Did you learn those 3 languages in law school? Because if not, I'm pretty sure Ebony still has more education. Not smarter, although maybe. Okay, Luanne's confessional basically explains what the problem is. Her interpretation of educated is well-rounded, well-traveled, speaks languages. Is she trying to make us feel like we're idiots? No, she's not. She's trying to get you to understand that she's not an idiot for using certain words. Okay, now Ebony finally gets to the point of why she brought up that she's educated in the first place. Because Luanne said people that use certain words, it's not about class, it's about education. And I don't know how else we're supposed to take that other than to mean that Luanne thinks that people who use certain words aren't as educated. And now that we know that Luanne thinks that the word educated and the word smart are synonymous with one another, what she's really saying is if you use those words, you're not as smart. Luanne said, girlfriend, you've got it all wrong. And Ebony goes, Luanne, you said that. You said it's about education. Luanne, I was talking about Catholic education. Oh my God. If she would have said that from the start, Ebony wouldn't have been offended, and if Ebony wasn't offended, she wouldn't have told everyone that she was the most educated person at the table. I mean, this could have been cleared up if she would have just said, it's not about class, it's about Catholic education. We were taught not to use those words. Like, it would have cleared everything up. Ebony said, you said education. Luanne, well, that's what I meant, and you jumped on me because you are miseducated. Ramona laughs hysterically. Ebony, no, I'm fully educated, Luanne. Luanne, oh, we know. You think you're the smartest girl in the room. Are we really back to this again? Not smartest, most educated. And you know, at this point, I am going to say, yeah, she's probably the smartest girl in the room right now. In Heather's confessional, she said, this is no longer about Leah. This is about egos now. Luanne, don't come into my house and tell me I don't have an education. Ebony, well, Luanne, I can leave your house. That's fine. I never said I was smarter. I never said that. Sonja, she didn't say you weren't educated. She said she's the most educated. So no one is really paying attention to Sonja, which is a shame because she's the only one who's got it right. Ebony said, I actually gave you much respect for being a trained nurse. Luanne, it didn't sound like that. Ebony tells her to clean out her ears then and listen. Luanne tells her she's screaming. She's not. Ramona is crying because her ears hurt so bad. What about all the healing screams you've been letting out? Didn't that hurt your ears? Suddenly your precious ears hurt? She's telling Ebony, keep it down. And Ebony said, your white fragility is killing me. Luanne, don't go after her race. Yes, because white people have such a history of being attacked for their race. And Ebony's like, oh, please do. Luanne, we wouldn't even come close. In Ramona's confessional, what do my ears have to do with my race? So Ebony is beginning to explain, and she said, white fragility is when white women... Ramona interrupts, you're shouting. Ebony, I'm not shouting. Sonja shouts, let her finish. Ramona, okay, then I'm going to sit back. This scene is making me feel some kind of way, guys. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. It's going to be controversial. I don't care. This is what I do. I recap the episode. I tell you what happened, and then I tell you how I felt about it. That's how my channel has always been. That's how it is now. You know, I'm not going to apologize for that. Ebony says, I do have a loud voice. I'm not shouting, but I do have a loud voice. I'm a podcaster. If you didn't watch this episode yourself, I'm just going to tell you this. Everyone was getting very animated during this discussion. But Ebony was not talking louder than anyone else. And I don't happen to think she does have a loud voice. I mean, for God's sake, she was having trouble being heard this entire trip. She'd say things and people would ignore her. I actually kind of wish she would stop saying that she talks loud, because I don't think she does. So anyway, Ebony goes on to say, we were talking about certain words that Ramona and Luanne don't like, words that are dealing with the reproductive system. Luanne looks very confused by that. She's trying not to offend you, okay? Ebony goes, like, C words and D words. Ramona now stands up screaming. What about your poor ears, Ramona? Are they not affected by your own voice? Ramona, because my Catholic education, I don't like those words. Sorry, I don't like them at dinner. She's standing over, like standing up, leaning over the table. Ebony is just sitting there. I just need you guys to, if you haven't seen the episode, I need you to understand the dynamic of this. Ebony said she didn't say that. Ramona, seriously, you guys, she was screaming right now. Yes, she did. Ebony, she said it has to do with education. Ramona, Heather, did she say that? Say yes. She literally said to Heather, say yes. Ebony, now fully looking at the cameraman, says, run the tape back. Run the tape back. So they do. And of course, like Ebony said, she just said education, not Catholic education, which would have made all the difference. I'm sure in Luann's head, that's what she meant, but that's not what came out of her mouth. And I don't know how Ebony was supposed to know what was inside Luann's head. So now Luanne says to Ebony, why are you getting so angry? Why are you yelling right now? Ebony said, oh, so now I'm the angry black woman? Luanne, that's what you're calling yourself. I'm not going there. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking to myself right now. I am thinking to myself, are they gaslighting Ebony? Because her voice is no louder than anybody else's. It's quieter than some. And to constantly be telling her, stop shouting. Why are you angry? When nobody said that to Ramona when she just stood up screaming. Nobody said that to Leah earlier when Leah had to come back in after she, thought of something good to say and was standing up screaming at Ramona about things that her daughter probably did when she was 14 and to leave her the hell alone. Luanne never told Leah to calm down or stop screaming, or why are you so angry? Nothing. Ramona herself never said, Leah, my ears hurt. Nope, just Ebony. If you're wondering why Ebony brings up race all the time, maybe this is why. Do you think maybe she could feel as the only black woman at a whole table of white women? Do you think maybe this gaslighting that's going on is making her question herself and feel defensive? Okay, well, now Ebony just said what I said, basically, and she wondered why nobody told Leah that she was an angry woman. I think it's a good question. Now Ramona said, I need another tequila. So she goes into the house. And I didn't realize this, but Victoria and Nicole and Kurt, the naked model, they're all eating inside the house. So Ramona goes and sits down next to Victoria. And strap yourselves in for a cringy moment. She says, I want to ask you a question. I don't usually like to use these words, but when you're hanging out at a table with your friends or with your mother, whatever, would you say, I like blank and, ooh, that blank is hard and I like dick? Do you do that? Victoria, no, not really. What's your point? Outside, Ebony says to Luanne, if you don't want me here and I'm not free to express my opinions, I will leave your property because I respect you. Luanne, I think you should go. Yeah. Sonia goes, oh my God. Please, would somebody please listen to Sonia? Ebony said, no, that's fine. She gets up. Luanne, you need to calm down and think about what you said. It was very offensive to us. Oh my God. Well, somebody needs to calm down and think about what they said. I'm just not sure it's Ebony. Ebony's like, I will not silence myself. You can't police my feelings. And you try to shame any woman that is sexually free. And you used education to do it. That's trash. It's trash. Luanne, well, that's a good word. Have a safe trip. And that is a to be continued. Yeah. So, I watched this episode yesterday and took all my notes, so I've had a little bit of time to think about it. And in retrospect, the way that these kind of things can be avoided, I guess, would be to ask questions right away. When Luanne said saying bad words, it's not about class. It's about education. Clearly that was a trigger for Ebony, who wouldn't be triggered by that. The way I talk makes you think that I'm uneducated. That's going to be triggering. If she were able to, and by the way, I understand her reaction. I'm just trying to figure out how this could be avoided. And I guess if she would have held it together long enough to just say, I'm sorry, are you saying that I use these words because I'm uneducated? That would have given Luanne a chance to say, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying a Catholic education is the reason why those words are sensitive to Ramona and me. I suppose that could have, cleared things up right from the start. The other piece of that is that Luanne has a certain interpretation in her head of education. She thinks education means smart. That's not always true. I went to beauty school instead of college. And there are people with a college education who aren't as smart as me. There are people that, left school in 8th grade and are smarter than me. I mean, it isn't the same thing. And yes, Luanne has life experience far beyond most people. She's lived in other countries. And yes, she speaks 3 languages. She's well-traveled. She's learned life lessons that somebody younger than her wouldn't have. Her trigger was that she thought Ebony was saying because she had more education, she was smarter than Luanne. So asking questions of Ebony could have prevented Luanne from going off in the wrong direction too. There's a lot to unpack in this episode. It was certainly an action-packed episode, but definitely not one of my favorites. This one didn't make me laugh so much. And it doesn't look like next week is going to be super funny either. But it does, in a weird way, look like they made up, because the ladies are at the beach fishing together and stuff. So, I don't know. I'm going to remind myself what I always try to remind you guys of, and that is there's no reason why we should be more upset than Ebony and Luanne. It was their argument. And anyway, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you liked this recap, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I will see you next time. Bye.